Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It is me, Rich, and I'm back for the reaction show for Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 1, or Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 1, to get it correct. And I'm joined by Martin. I've also got Kevin backstage. He was just adjusting his headset, having a bite to eat, sorting himself out. Is he ready now? Here he is. He's ready. He's ready.
Hello.
Little bit of feedback coming through.
Is that
Yeah.
brilliant? It's like the good old days.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
How's that?
That's much better.
There we go.
Yeah,
Good.
much better. Yeah. So thank you for everyone jumping on. It's great to have you on. We've got loads watching already. I mean, what a game it was yesterday. I was lucky enough to be there. I think we were fairly positive, quietly positive in our match preview. And once again, Emery and the lads didn't let us down and got a vital point. Could have been better, could have been more. But look, I know we were saying if you'd have asked us at the start of the game, would we have taken a point? We definitely would have done. So yeah, just an absolute a great result, and we'll get into it. I mean, the atmosphere in the away end, I will touch on it a bit later, but it was incredible. And part of it, you guys will have to tell me more about actually what happened in the game, because sometimes we're just too carried away with just singing and just getting involved in the atmosphere. Like so tense with like just what was happening, particularly in that second half. So yeah, you guys might have to bring me up to speed, but we'll cover all the talking points, get your comments in. Already loads coming in already, so I will go through them all. George is joining us as well. A lot of George's predictions came right, so I'm sure he's jumping on to tell us, to bask in the glory of his predictions. So yeah, here he is. But let's get into the comments first. Yeah, AVFC US can't make the live show, no problem, but wanted to chime in with this pretty gutsy move to change fullbacks for this one, and it worked well. We could have put it away in the first half. Yeah, great. And then can't complain about the Liverpool goal. Salah's outside of the boot pass. Dina was great. McGinn too. Mings is the man. Yeah, and he loves the Villa pod up the Villa. Absolutely. Also put in the chat there our link to become a member. We've had our newest member join, Pete Haywood, who I don't know if you guys know, but tunes in from Australia. He's joined the Villa Park Pod family as an official Villa Park Pod follower. If you want to do that for just $1.99 a month, please just click that link or hit the join button or hit the $ at the bottom and you can become a member. So welcome to Peter. And we're up to 12 or 13 members now, lads. We're over 1,450 subscribers. So guys, help us on the way to 1,500. Be amazing to hit that very soon. So hit that subscribe button and hit that like button to join the channel. What other comments have we got coming in? Michael's in the house. Good evening. Hope you all have had a great weekend. Absolutely. Rachel, evening, everyone. How are we feeling? Well, we'll get into how we're all feeling about it in a second. Dream Villain, hey up, guys. Great result yesterday. Absolutely. Michael, well done to the Villa men and women with 2 great draws. Up the cherries in all departments. I think I've got that right. The Bournemouth fans channel, Craig. Absolutely delighted for you guys this season. What a season you've had from where you were and being beaten first game of the season by us. Yeah, well, I don't think we'd have predicted where we are now after that game. And I made that trip from Newcastle, mate, and I was not happy about that game. But yeah, great season for you guys as well. So massively well done. Gary, hi guys. Time to get the European Atlas out for next season's obscure destinations. Now, Gary, that is very surprising from you because you haven't been as positive over the last few weeks, but great to have that positivity. Genuinely think most of this team are starters next season, except a couple of wingers. Again, we'll get into that a bit. Willie, evening guys. Love the show. I'll take the point. To think where we were to be chasing the European place is amazing. Up the Villa. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all on. Vital point yesterday. Now on to Brighton. Up the Villa. Yeah, brilliant. Kev, I will come to you first, mate. How are you feeling?
Testing 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes. Technical issues resolved. I just changed my browser. What? Who'd have thought it? How am I feeling? Just in myself, or about Aston Villa? About Aston Villa. That's what you mean, don't you? So I'm feeling absolutely tremendous, mate. I'm feeling tremendous. for us to be in this situation, I've said it probably on repeat over the last few pods, but I mean, it was only a couple of fixtures ago. We still technically could have qualified for the Champions League. That was incredible itself. To be in a situation where today we were hoping for Southampton to have that second goal allowed, to then we might have had a chance for Europa League. We were looking like relegation almost certainties before when Gerrard left, end of October, start of November. Then we basically written off over 25% of the season in terms of our previous manager. For us to do this now, honestly, I genuinely think if City don't win the treble, then I think Emery's an absolute massive shout for manager of the year, because all the other teams, Brighton were in a good position, when Potter left. Newcastle had obviously a good end to last season, started this season really well. Where we came from, Craig from the Bournemouth channel, hi Craig, makes the point, that start of the season, it was downhill for 8, 9, 10 games, wasn't it, from us then? For us to be in a situation for a home game, full house, against Brighton, who have got 2 more games this week to get European football, absolutely magnificent. I'm so proud of the team. I'm so proud of Emery. I'm so proud of all the staff. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of everyone that comments. I'm so proud of my postman. I wish it was George.
Big up the postman.
Big up the
Yeah,
postman.
exactly.
I'm just feeling great about it, mate.
Yeah, brilliant. George, I'll come to you, mate. Just regards to specifically feelings around the game and the result. I mean, you kind of, I think you might have been more positive and predicted a win, but you certainly got a lot of the team selection right. You picked Dean, coming in. I think you picked Cash coming in. I mean, how are you feeling, like, reflecting on the result in terms of going to Anfield and what it does to our chances for Europe?
Well, yeah, I think it's a great result. Obviously it's disappointing when you look at the paper and it says Firmino 89. You're thinking, we've blown it after playing so well in the game. But no, I mean, with all the injury time and that, let's face it, they were all over us second half, and I was just waiting for the goal to be coming, and eventually it did. But we defended resolutely. I thought we played especially first half. I thought we were fantastic. I was just a little bit disappointed in the second that we just couldn't get a foot on the ball anymore and couldn't get out. But with the team, I fancied Luca Dean to come in, as I said to you guys the other day, and I think he did really well. And do you know what? I think him getting injured was actually, that's where we started falling off. He got the injury, didn't he? And then Moreno's come on for him, and then unfortunately he's then got crocked as well. And and as you kept saying the other day, Martin, you can't keep messing around with your defence. And eventually it did catch up with us. But it's a point at Anfield. We said the other day they'd lost 1 game at Anfield all season, and they were very close to making it 2 this time. So I think on the whole, boys, we've got to be pretty pleased.
Yeah, Martin, were you due to concur with both Kev and George, just with the positivity and the fact that we did go to Anfield and push them all the way?
Well, I did say in the last pod, for anyone that did watch that, about Liverpool's run, that all good things must come to an end, and thankfully it did.
I was very similar, mate. I was very similar.
Yeah, like 8 wins in a row in the Premier League doesn't matter if you're Liverpool or Man City and Arsenal and Aston Villa. That's a really hard thing to do in the Premier League. And in the first half, I think that Liverpool probably took us for granted. That it's probably Aston Villa, it'd be grand, we'll get the 3 points, whatever, we move on, and then we go into the last game of the season, hopefully get top 4, and they're in for a bit of a shell shock. We were absolutely all over them, steamrolled them, and unfortunate for Ollie Watkins, he missed a penalty. If he had scored that, you're talking 3 points, and then you're away from Spurs, and realistically then all you needed was a point against Brighton. But look, as Villa would do, we never make it easy for ourselves, and second half, like George said, we just could not get that ball rolling, and it was just really hard for us to get out. But we defended really well. I thought Mings was absolutely colossal at the back, and just
got to be his best performance in a Villa shirt for me.
100% man of the match. That's it. That's just giving away my man of match thoughts there. It's him. Forget about it, right? But it was absolutely fantastic from him, and I have to say that it was a fantastic performance for Villa. Everyone's now positive. Conference League place is on. It's in our hands. We've 1 foot in the door. Let's get over the line now next week against Brighton.
Brilliant, mate. if that's what you say to your lads who you coach, you got a great team talk there, mate. You got a really good. But yeah, on to the game, Kev. Like I say, I think the whole day, like in Liverpool with the Villa fans, was amazing. The weather was great. The atmosphere, like going into the ground, was brilliant. Obviously, Tottenham getting beat 3-1. I don't know how the atmosphere would have been had Tottenham won, but that gave us a little bit extra momentum. And that first half, how we started, Kev, I mean, some of the football was just frighteningly good.
Yeah, I mean, what I love is the confidence to do what Emery wants us to do and to not necessarily... I mean, he does change his game plan when he feels he needs to, but he decided the game plan was to still have a high line. I think we caught them offside quite a few times. And also to keep playing out from the back, and we did it beautifully. I mean, I think that, you know, other than obviously when Man United beat us, I can't think of a time when we've really been caught out since probably the Leicester game, mistake-wise. And it was just great to see. In that first half, I mean, let's be clear, right? How many teams go to Anfield and dominate from the kickoff in a game that they had to win to give themselves chance for Champions League? They had to win that game. They had to. So they needed to be at it, and we were in control of the game. And I just listen. I don't care who you are. Maybe Man City aside, I think any team second half. You know, Firmino's last game, Milner, less so. You know, Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain, but you know, there was a bit of fanfare for these players that had done stuff over the years, and they were always going to come back at us. They always were, but we could have been 3 up. That free kick routine when Ramsey nearly scored was a great save. That great save because he dashed out of his goal so quickly and he caught it perfect. It was going in the corner. I think. Obviously, we missed a penalty. I think Watkins has missed more penalties than he's scored for us now. With I think maybe he missed 5 and scored 4.
5 from 9 or something. Yeah.
So that probably needs to be looked at, separate conversation. But I was just really proud of the lads. And you know what? The injuries didn't have helped at fullbacks. There was loads of time at the end of the first half. What was it, like 8 or 9 minutes? Was the first
9 minutes? And I think, if I remember right, that was to do with that was more to do with Liverpool than us, wasn't it? I don't know. I know there was a bit of there wasn't much stoppage for the penalty. But I'm pretty sure Liverpool had something to do with the stoppage, the length of stoppage time in the first half. I can't really remember, but I mean, we'll get on to Klopp's moaning and whinging in a bit, which hopefully sours at your. I mean, certainly, this is the one thing I can't stand. Well, there's a number of things I don't like about Jurgen Klopp, but that one is the major one. But yeah, we'll get on to that. But yeah, I mean, touching on the penalty, George. I mean, obviously, Kev's mentioned it there. You know, he's missed 4 from 9. It wasn't. It's one of those like in the stands where like we weren't 100% confident. A lot of Villa fans weren't confident, but the move was brilliant. The pass from McGinn again highlights the fact that Kev says we weren't afraid to play out from the back. You know, Martinez was pinging balls over to Luka Dean. One thing I really like about Dean is his touch. His touch is great, you know, like when he's taking balls down. But just that confidence to play that football, and it was epitomised by that chance, you know, the chance to get a penalty. And sadly, Watkins couldn't put it away. But yeah, I mean, as I say, great football as a whole, George.
Yeah, we were knocking it around really nice, and it was Luiz, wasn't it? With that sort of with the long ball over to him, if I remember rightly, he'd done it a few times in the game. He sort of like centre to left and set Watkins away, if I remember rightly. You know, and to be fair, Watkins has used his pace, and it was a penalty, but he did well to get the penalty, if you know what I mean, because he got his foot on it, didn't he? And just that extra bit of pace got him away.
What we were saying about, you know, it was definitely a penalty. It was no debate about it, but you get your foot to it first, and then you get the contact.
It's the cleverness.
Yeah,
exactly. So it's one of them. He kind of won us the penalty, and then sort of like give us a present and then took it straight back, didn't he?
I wish he'd have given the keeper the eyes and just whipped it in there. I mean, it's so easy to say now.
Rich, he scores that a month ago.
Yeah.
It's just, you can tell the last few games, it's not quite gone for him, and he's kind of gone back into his shell a little bit. Yeah. And, you know, I've been tempted to let like maybe Luiz have that pen. I mean, I know it's easy to say now after he's missed it. But I looked at him, he didn't look confident.
He looked nervous.
Yeah, he did. And I always think, obviously it was in front of the cop, but I always think when you win the penalty yourself, I just don't think you should take it. I don't know why. Yeah. I just think you should. Like
Nah.
if you're the one who's been fouled or whatever, I know Kane does it all the time, but I don't know. I just something that maybe it's just rubbish. But yeah, like I say, he's like you said, maybe Louise takes it or someone else. But you're going to back yourself, aren't you? You're going to back yourself to score. So
Of
it's a
course, and I mean,
difficult
and
one.
that record, that 5 from 9, that's not all for Villa. He's only taken, I think, 3 for us. I think he's missed 2 now, hasn't he? Maybe 4 actually. I think he scored 2, missed 2, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, he missed 1 against West Ham, 1 against Liverpool. Yeah,
They scored
Yeah.
against Everton, didn't they? Yeah.
I think maybe 1 more as well.
Yeah. But anyway, had that penalty gone in, obviously the whole complexion of the game changes. But we didn't let that affect us, Martin. We carried on playing that good football, and we got the reward with another cracking ball. I think it was Louise puts the ball in, and this is where Trent gets done all the time at the far post, and Ramsey was there, first away goal of the season, tucked it away. I think I have a picture of it. I'm watching the comments coming in, but yeah, brilliant little finish, bottom corner across Allison, and then cue the wonderful celebration. But great goal.
I was waiting on that. I
Great
was waiting
goal.
on that picture. Yeah,
Yeah.
That was just brilliant. Like, this is the one thing I think everyone says about Trent. Trent going forward is absolutely fantastic, right? No doubt about that. At the back, the man is as useful as cat piss, right? Like, literally, it's so bad back there that, like, anyone could get by him. Anybody can get by him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just absolutely shocking. And that's no disrespect to Jacob Ramsey. Like, he was just at the right place at the right time, got the ball, bang. And I love the celebration just to the cop. That is just brilliant.
Yeah. Kev, you wanted to jump in there?
I was going to say, I just don't think he's positionally very aware, is he?
No.
Trent.
No, he's not.
And for that goal, could we just give a bit more credit to Louise, please? Because, one of the smallest men on the pitch won two headers. What I loved about it, Richie touched on this, obviously, for a lot of teams, you go to Anfield, you miss a penalty. It's probably your only chance of the game. You get one breakaway, you maybe get another, header from a corner goes over the bar. We didn't affect us at all. We obviously nearly scored that creative free kick routine later on. But we put the pressure on after missing a penalty. That says a lot about a team's mindset. They didn't think, oh, God, that's our chance gone away at Anfield for a game that we want to win to get in Europe. They were like, let's keep going. And that pressure, that sustained pressure on Liverpool's box. Cross came in. Louise heads it back in. Bailey did what Bailey does, which is like smash the shot against someone. And luckily, about all he did, really. It came back out to Louise. What a ball. And great finish under pressure. And I just think we gave it to them. They were. Klopp was very kind about us before the game, and Annie Robertson as well. Showing us the respect we deserve. But if you look at our record now against the bigger teams under Emery,
it's great.
Really good.
Really good. Yeah.
And that's probably the one thing about Emery, that against the big clubs, we're actually not trying to catch them on the counter, trying to look for something. We're actually playing football against them, and we're actually getting chances away and getting results, draws, wins. Yeah, you might lose 1 or 2 because you are coming up against the bigger teams. That's just naturally going to happen. But just seeing us compete against the teams that are up here is a huge improvement from when the likes of Dean Smith and Steven Gerrard were there. That's just absolutely unbelievable to see.
It's so much as well to do with that formation of the midfield. Now we may, I know Emery likes to change tactics for different games and slightly tweak it, but just having that, because we haven't got the physicality in midfield, you have to compensate it with numbers. And for whatever reason, Gerrard and Smith couldn't see it. And you're seeing the same with Leicester. Like, I don't know what it is, but they just get overrun. The free in midfield gets overrun. You have to create more men in midfield, and this is what we've got now. Even when Trent tried to come into midfield, we had men to cover it. But then what we also had was someone like a Ramsey, who I thought was excellent all game, and I thought he had every time he got the ball, he had Trent on toast. And
first half, mate, I thought he was best player in the first half. The way he turns on the half term and runs at people, we've got no one else like it.
Yeah, he's getting that thing like Grealish, where he's faster with the ball than people are running without it. He is, and like, I think it was like 60, 70, 65 minutes where Trent actually took him down and got a yellow for it. And that was just because he just rinsed him all game. And and I think if Southgate had been watching that is a true performance of someone who can be effective in international games because he's got that type of game about him where you need territory, you need to have players who can be dynamic. But obviously now, hopefully, he's starting to add more goals and more kind of. I guess it's that, it's about the stats, isn't it? About the figures. He's adding that ruthlessness to his game. So yeah, I thought Ramsey was excellent. Someone tweeted out, I think loads of people tweeted, he's still only 21 years old. And as I said before, for that shout for Young Player of the Year, he's played 100 games for Villa, and like at 21, I mean, it's testament to how good he is.
And am I right by saying this is his best goal contribution season with like 5 goals and 5 assists?
I think it's six goals and 5 assists now he's got this season.
He's always been quite productive, hasn't he? It's just when he's not got scoring or assisting, he used to drift out a lot, didn't he?
Yeah.
I mean, this season, I'm not going to suddenly change my tune now because he's scored in the last couple of games.
I get your point.
The consistency is going to come as he gets older.
Yeah, he has picked up lately as well. I think he's got 3 in his last 7. So I think all of the criticism is probably the kind of thing you would expect from any player of that age in the Premier League. I think he's 22 at the end of May, so he's nearly 22. But to play that amount of games, and I think 90 of his 100 games have been in the Premier League. So I mean, I think he's absolutely fantastic with what he's done. Sure, there will be periods of inconsistency. One of the problems I think we have when we have inconsistent periods from him is that because we've got players around the pitch, whether it's a Bailey or Traore, where it's been Watkins in the past, obviously, and he's obviously a bit of a moment now, then all of a sudden you've got more than one player that not having a good day. So, I think that's obviously something that I want to rectify because you've got good options to come off the bench. Right now, if someone is a bit inconsistent, you're bringing on Dendoncker or Duran, really, or maybe a fullback. You haven't really got the options, so that's why you have to keep going. And you are going to get good and bad, but first half, I thought he was absolutely tremendous. I mean, Mings was obviously brilliant. McGinn was great. Some good performances all round. Fullback's good, but Cash returned to the team. Big shout out to him. I thought he did really well.
Did well.
Yeah. The team actually, I predicted, bar Moreno Ferdinand was bang on. Disappointed to say that, obviously, I was right with Bailey, but yeah, I just think the first half there were quite a few of them that I thought really stepped up. And McGinn, I mean, he's on. He's going to come out in the press. He's on some product. He's not allowed to be taken. Yeah, he's like a man possessed.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up one point to you, though, lads, that with obviously Jacob Ramsey, we are probably a bit more patient with Jacob Ramsey about his performances and everything else because he's an academy graduate. It's not like we forked out a 40-50 million pound player for a 21-year-old, so we're expecting instant results and everything like that. Would you disagree with me with saying that although we can be frustrated with Jacob Ramsey, but at the same time, we're more patient because he's Villa true and true?
I don't think there's room for patience. So is there sometimes in the Premier League? I think he's there on merit because there's no better options really, and not that many. With Kamara's injuries this season, we've obviously struggled to have more people. It's not like Traore's coming on and changing the game. I know we had a couple of goals to help us out. Bailey's not been absolutely lightning. So really, I think it's been by default. But I maybe gets a little bit more leeway because he's come for the rank.
Yeah, I think it buys you some more time and loyalty. But I think at the same time as well, for a team in where we are, 7th, six goals, 5 assists from a 21-year-old throughout the season, it's a pretty decent return. Like I don't know if you would. I don't like it. I mean, how many goals has Grealish got for Man City this season? And they've won the league. I know they've got Haaland, but you talk about an attacking type midfielder. So I think he's probably maybe 1 or 2 goals away from where he probably would want to be. I would say that McGinn probably needs more goals. I would say, even though his performances have been fantastic, Buendia definitely needs more goals. So in terms of like Ramsey's contribution to the team, I think he's probably where he should be. I just think I agree with George in the fact that when he doesn't do any of those, either one of those 2 things, like score or assist, there's been times in games where he's absolutely just the way he's gone missing.
It's not there, yeah.
I've just thoroughly depressed myself because I've looked at the Villa stats this season. Watkins 15 goals, 6 assists. Ings 7 and 2, and Randy and Louise have both got 6 goals, 6 assists. Bailey's got 5 and 4. Buendia 5 and 3. I thought I will check Man City. Jesus Christ, I don't know why I bothered. 52 goals for Haaland, 17 for Alvarez, 15 for Mahrez, 14 for Foden, 10 for De Bruyne. De Bruyne's got 26 assists.
Wow.
Mahrez
Well, in
has
fairness,
got
if I have
13.
Haaland up front, I think I'd have 26 assists too.
Yeah.
Grealish is like 8th in terms of contributions. He's got 5 goals and 11 assists. Even like
Right.
Rodri's got 3, Stones has got 3. So
Yeah.
it makes you realise that if you want to start to get yourself up the league, you need to get bigger numbers in.
Everyone's happy contributing.
Yeah.
I've got to go through some comments. I also just want to mention we've got nearly 70 watching. I think we've got over 70 watching. Like, people might be on slight delay, but we only have 27 likes. So if you can, please, everyone watching, hit that like button, please. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, because we want to keep growing. But yeah, if you can drop a like on the channel, that'd be great.
Rich, did you see that thing that was on the news this morning? If you don't like podcasts when your team have got one game to go for Europe, they won't qualify for Europe.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
did you see it, George? Yeah,
if you want to be, if you want to be responsible for that, then
exactly.
Yeah,
it's on you.
So, like.
Dream Villain, amazing to think this is still the majority of the championship team we had. Incredible what a good manager can do and what a season it's been. I echo that 100%. Gary says, surely we don't blow it on the last day. Even old pessimistic me can't see that, Rich. Yeah, understood. Definitely, mate. Where is Russell Edwards? He was right. Don't know who Russell is, Rachel.
I think he might be talking about Richard.
Oh, Richard. Yeah. Rachel just talked to Gary there. We have to approach it the right way. We cannot be complacent, and we have to earn the right to win. Michael, echoing our thoughts, hit the like, everyone. Gary said, can't believe Liverpool fans bricked the fans coach outside. I don't know. I didn't know about that. And they wanted more injury time as well. Yeah, we will definitely get into that. Rachel, Arsenal are the only team to do the double over us this season. That is remarkable in and of itself. You highlighted that, George. You man of stats.
That's a foul stat, that one.
It was. Duncan in the house. Evening, Dunk. Liverpool fans will start hating us after we gave City the title last year and denied them Champions League shot this time. Yeah, definitely.
Don't bring that up, please, because my mates were on to me about that as well, actually.
JB says Klopp was frustrated that he got done by Unai. Liverpool had been on a great run, 7 consecutive wins. Moreno coming on and off disturbed our plan and helped Liverpool. Proud of the boys. Yeah, I agree, mate. Really random reviews. Evening, fellas. Evening to you, mate. Great to have you on board. Weston said they're nearly 20 minutes injury time in all. JB says the Ramsey free kick chance. Credit to Austin McPhee. Newcastle will be copying that and claiming it as their own soon. Like the Trippier handing the ball to penalty taker stolen from us.
I've noticed a few teams are doing that.
Yeah,
now.
there's a few, aren't they?
Yeah.
Love Watkins, but kind of glad he's had this dip in front of goal. The attacking areas are what we need to focus on in the summer. We will get a forward this summer. Yeah, agreed. Ian, I think it should be Ramsey, as I think he is the ball striker in the squad. That's for penalties, I imagine. I think we don't have any other penalty takers in the squad. Watkins must be better than others in training. He's got to be more consistent, says Gary. Don't expect him to score every week, but nothing in 5 games, I think. And to be poor as well is a concern going into next season. And then Weston said he celebrated like that because of the stick Watkins got from the cop after missing the pen. Well, yeah, I mean, you just give it a big back, don't you? Gary, Mings and McGinn are consistently good at long last, thanks to Emery. Yeah, I think he's simple. Like, weirdly enough, I know it's quite tactical, but he's kind of simplified Mings and McGinn's game. You know, like, as I said with McGinn, it's like pass to players that are closer to you. And with Mings, it's like clear, like he's passing more, he's got more options, but when he's there to defend, he's there to defend. And I mean, he's just reacting to it amazingly well.
The like confidence, the confidence is sky high, though. You can see, and that is literally oozing out of them. And I think the opposition players are seeing it. You know, you're Dan Burn getting absolutely bossed by McGinn on the first tackle. You're thinking, crikey, like I'm David versus Goliath, but I'm in for a game. Mings, Mings. I love all these Mings haters. I keep seeing clips on Twitter of people slagging Mings off, and then all of a sudden, he's just consistently being great.
Kev, sorry, mate. Sorry, just on that, it's amazing. It's amazing how many podcasts or fans in general say Mings is terrible, and then he proceeds to get man of the match against them.
Yeah.
Remember,
it was my surprise. It was my surprise of the season, Mings, at the start. I thought he'd come back with a vengeance. So
he's got to be in with a shout for player of the season, isn't he? I know that's a few weeks or a couple of weeks away, but I'd say he's got to be up there.
I think Calvin Phillips would be ahead of him. I think that goes.
Just to bring up Richard's point, when you said obviously the fans hating on Mings and he goes to get man of the match against him, I think the most noticeable one was when Rich was on the Eagle-Eyed Football and they didn't include Mings in like the combined starting 11. So they had Jakob Anderson and Mark Guéhi starting together, and I was like, now Mings has to be starting in it. What happened? Jakob Anderson goes and gets an own goal, and Mings kept a clean sheet.
Yeah,
it was it was instant karma, and I was loving it.
It's the Newcastle guys as well. Like the few of the Newcastle podcasts that just say he's rubbish, and like and then obviously he marked Wilson and Isak out the game. Like it's just one of them. It's just one of them. I mean, I was on the train down yesterday, and the Liverpool fans we met were brilliant, and we were saying that like Mings is probably arguably our player of the season. They kind of like raised their eyebrows a bit. Not said he was rubbish or anything, but then I thought, I hope I haven't cursed him. But again, just imperious, just every. I keep saying it like, and I know it's a blast from the past, but I keep saying it. It's like he's like Colin Hendry without the blonde hair, like just or the ginger hair, whatever it is, like the great mop of hair.
Do you know what I like about him?
Comes in and he just heads it every time.
Do you know what I like about him, mate? Is if you look at, I can't remember who it was who said it the other day, but I think it was on the Spurs Brentford game. Someone talked about Ben Mee. I would have been really happy if Villa had taken Ben Mee. We were linked with the centre backs with me. Tarkowski was linked as well because he's a proper defender.
Yeah.
And the reason why
no nonsense. Yeah.
Me and Pinnock do it's like Gareth McCauley. He's like Craig Dawson. It's like all these players. They've
get the body on the line.
Get the body on the line. Look at like who was the guy who used to play for Everton at the back? Was it Weir? What was his name? Can't remember his name. David
Weir.
Yeah. Richard Goff. These defenders, Martin Larsson, Olaf Melberg. You know where I'm going with this. They don't need to like play out fancy from the back. Mings has really come on in that part of the game. But he's dominating, he's strong, he's not getting people on getting past him, he's quick to the tackle, he's athletic. And that's what you want, a proper defender. And that's why I think that, a lot of teams sometimes are trying to be a bit too fancy with the ball. Let's get someone in the back. And that's why, if you think about it, would have been the most glamorous. But Dunk, obviously has done really well. Webster, you've got the likes of, obviously, as I mentioned, me and Pinnock. These aren't the most glamorous names, but I tell you what, you wouldn't be unhappy if they were in your defence.
Yeah. And but I think one thing with Mings as well is that his positioning has been so much better. Like, remember when, like, before Emery came in, like, he was nearly getting caught out of position half time because he would try to dribble into the midfield area with the ball. And then if he makes the pass and loses it, the striker, all he had to do was just go into where Mings was, and it was getting caught out nearly half time. And this time, I actually haven't seen Mings dribble into the midfield area at all since Emery's been there. He's literally been passing it, moving, getting ready, and his position's been so much better. And that's just one thing I love for seeing in the centre half.
And he stopped he stopped ball watching, didn't he? That was his biggest problem.
Yeah, that was
his time, didn't he?
Like, remember against Man City when we lost like 6-1? The amount of times that lad was watching the ball, like, but this time now he's just aware of
communication.
Credit where credit's due, because we've given him enough, haven't we, over the last few years?
Yeah. Like, I remember
he's doing great.
This is a good one. I remember we were all saying, like, Mings is good, but he's not going to get better than what he is. And now look.
Yeah,
very true, mate.
Shows.
He shoved our words down our throat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. A couple more comments. I just want to hang on the Mings thing, but we'll get there in a sec. Gig says the goal was repeated. The Trez goal v Leicester when Elmo delivered like Dougie. Yeah, there's a few comparison there. Weston says thought Bailey was poor again. Yeah, he's definitely that weak link, mate. He's definitely Mings man of the match for me. Heard a Scouse podcast saying Mings played like he had a grudge against Liverpool. That's probably best backhanded compliment comparison you can give. Mings and you S House, yeah, definitely. Gary said apparently there are 3 Ramsey brothers at Villa. There's another younger one than
how old's the young kid?
Cole is about, I think he's like mid-teens, I think he is, Cole Ramsey.
Yeah. So there's 3 now.
Yeah. First half, almost all of the team performed well. Yeah. Really random reviews. Mings for me, man of the match, absolute warrior mode. Duncan, all of Watkins' goals come off forward runs. He needs momentum to score, basically. Dead balls like penalties are not his forte. It's a good, decent point. With the new additions, we will be able to rotate him and get more competition to improve Ramsey. Yeah, I agree, Rachel. Adam says our whole midfield needs more goals. Sava says, why does no one talk about Konza? He's a Rolls Royce defender.
Yep.
Mate, it's an absolutely fair point. I mean, to have a player like Mings and win the headers, do all that he does, you've got to have that backup. You've got to have that guy who reads the game, who mops up, and Konza's that perfect foil, isn't he?
I think he's kind of
Yeah.
going unnoticed at the minute, Konza, and I think it's doing him a bit of a favour, really. There's not so much pressure on him, is there? Mings has always been the one that takes all the flack, takes the heat, and takes the praise when it's going well. Konza's still, well, I don't know how old he is now, but he's sort of he's been kind of like the little brother, hasn't he? Mings' little brother, learning on the job, and he's doing all right.
25 years, Conte.
Is he really? Yeah. I suppose.
Wow.
Well, we must have had him 4 seasons now, haven't we?
We have, yeah.
And here's how I view Konza, right? Now, I'm not putting Mings and Konza on this pedestal of a top ever centre halves, if you will, but Konza reminds me sort of a Vidic, someone who like probably does that little bit of dirty work and makes the under defender look good. Like Rio Ferdinand, like he was a class defender. Don't get me wrong, but Vidic was the one who made him look good. Konza is probably doing that for Mings, so which is why you don't see a lot of credit go to Konza as opposed to Mings.
Well, it's because Mings is always the aggressor. He's the one who goes in for the challenges. If the team's playing one up front, then Mings is the one who engages with the ball or engages with the challenge, whereas Konsa will be the one to more mop it up. And also the way that Emery's played, I think Mings has adapted so well to that passing range and that he adapted a little bit quicker than Konsa did. That right hand side is different though, because you don't have as many progressive passes, whereas Mings has got the opportunity to play Moreno in. So I do give it that, whereas Konsa's just going to play it across to Young or play it across to Cash. He's not going to have to play those progressive passes too much. But Konsa's been great. Kev?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a great point to say, like, obviously he's not been mentioned in this chat, but I think it's because Mings has been so good. The way I would always look at it is you pick up all of our centre halves. Carlos, obviously, will he get back to the levels we hope he does prior to joining Villa? But all the ones we've got, Carlos, Chambers, Mings, Konsa, I think the one that would be a massive miss would be Mings. I think if you're playing that game, Mings is there. You can probably do without any of the others with a decent partner. I think Mings, Chambers, Mings, Carlos, but Mings' performances this season have made him undroppable for us, and that is just testament to him. And I think also says a lot about his character, the way he's come back from losing the captaincy. And this is the point about should he get the captaincy back. My view is McGinn's playing absolutely tremendous as captain now, and Mings is playing brilliant without the captaincy. So I think I'll just keep it as it is personally.
Yeah. Couple more comments. Evening Rich from Big T. Great result. I said I would take a draw at Anfield. I did predict us to win 2-1. If Watkins' penalty had gone in, I would have got it right. Well, yeah, mate. Yep. Nick, evening all. Loving the show. Up the Villa. Thank you for joining us, mate. Brilliant. Article done. Hey, what's up, lads? Lovely evening to catch up with a podcast with a chilled beer. Oh, mate.
You're thinking like George. He's in the man cave right now. He's out the doghouse this evening.
What else is a man to do?
Yeah. Can't think of anything better, mate. Nick, has anyone really looked at that chance we had to make it 2-1? Was it? Oh, I'll come on to that. I really want to come on to that. I'll star that. So we'll talk that bit. We'll get on to the second half in a minute. Paul says, we can do this next week. Coffee on you, Villa boys. I think it'd be more than a coffee, mate, if we do it next week. 100%. Gary says that commentator is Michael Bridges, getting some stick from Villa fans, and rightly so.
Yeah, too.
He was wishing that ball in the in our
was
net,
he?
wasn't he? Oh yeah.
Mark, evening, guys. Evening to Mark. Mark is responsible for our thumbnails, and what an amazing picture he picked out this week. It was great. Paul says what's this? We could do this next week. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So I do want to just talk on Mings moving into the second half. One of the major talking points, there was a few major talking points. We've talked about kind of being put under pressure. I couldn't see it very well from the stand. It looked to me like he won the ball and then there was a coming together. But obviously the still image shows it as being, quite rough. What were your thoughts? Because we couldn't believe that he was checking it on VAR. But what were your thoughts on it? I'll open it up.
When I was watching it, when I had first seen it, I was like, "Geez, that was a bit rough." But when you see the replay, what actually happened was Mings had kicked the ball away, but it was actually Cody Gakpo that actually runs into the boot. It's not necessarily Mings taking him out of the game. So I was just kind of like, why are they checking it? It's like it wasn't an intentional foul for Mings to go and do that. The ball was there to be won. He kicked it away, but it was just because of the momentum of Gakpo, he just could not stop and just connected with the boot. So it was no more than a yellow. it was no more than a yellow.
I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd been sent off for it. I think the argument about that, that if you win the ball, it's not a red card. Well, if you kick the ball and then kick someone in the face afterwards, then I think it clearly would be. For me, it's just the consistency, isn't it? And I think what speaks of real hypocrisy is that when Jota did an even worse challenge on Skip in the Liverpool Spurs game, when it put to Klopp, he said that Ryan Mason should focus on other things. So maybe Klopp should himself focus on other things rather than these Adidas stripes that have been put on. There are other sports brands out there that have been put on Gakpo's chest. It was a high boot, and I think he did follow through a bit. So I think it was a little bit reckless for me. I mean, I wanted to support my man and say he got the ball first. These things happen, but he did feel like he kind of pushed his foot through a bit, and I think he was a bit of a lucky boy personally. But then if you're not going to send off Jota for what he did to Skip kicking him in the head, then I don't think you can send Mings off.
Yeah, it was a high foot, as you just said. I don't think he intentionally went out to hurt him. As you said, Mark, Gakpo was coming into him, wasn't he? Mings probably
it was just the momentum of Gakpo,
Yeah, the follow through is what it was. I think he's got to get his leg back down, hasn't he? Unfortunately, Gakpo's got his chest in the way. But as you just said there, when it went to VAR, I thought, shit, we're in big trouble here. He's probably going to go. But fair play to the ref, because the Liverpool fans were all over him already by now, weren't they? After he'd given us a pen. And I think Liverpool had a shout that wasn't given, and we were getting all the free kicks. And I thought he's going to have to level this up soon. But no, fair play to the ref. He stood strong, and I don't think Anfield were very happy with him at that stage.
No, but I know it was mad because for once VAR was not on the side of the big six.
I know, it's lovely to see, mate, wasn't it?
That was just unbelievable. I was kind of like, so this is what it feels like to be a big six club. I can get used to this.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, like I say, it was so difficult to see. I mean, and as we know, the communication when it goes to VAR and stuff in the ground isn't great, and you just get a VAR check for possible, I think it was like foul play or something like that. And honestly, I don't know what they were checking, but yeah, I mean, it was maybe one that I think had the referee have given a red card, it wouldn't have been overturned. But because he already dished out a yellow card, I think there probably wasn't enough in it to overturn the decision to make it a red. So
Bridges was stunned. Bridges was absolutely stunned, wasn't he?
I bet he was. He
said it was a red all day long, and that Mings was lucky to stay on a pitch.
I thought he was a Geordie lad. I didn't realise he was born in Bootle. The way he was talking,
didn't he?
Yeah,
he did. But wasn't he? I think he was at Newcastle as a kid. I mean, I might have got it wrong.
It might have been.
Yeah,
Leeds.
Leeds had a great season. To be fair, one season they got injured, but it was like he was a Liverpool fan. I mean, both. I couldn't believe they wanted everything. They couldn't believe that Mings wasn't sent off. They couldn't believe, about other penalties. And also there was a Henderson one, wasn't there? Was it the challenge by Luis?
There was nothing in that at all. I thought
nothing in it.
No.
But we've seen those. I mean, I've seen Fernandes get given those kind of penalties for us against Man United. So. Yeah, it was a bit of a surprise. Once they went to VAR, George, I was the same. I thought, oh, crikey, we've got a 1-0 lead and we're going to be 10 men for, a whole half and the rest of this first half. But yeah, in the end, it worked out okay. So yeah, maybe that's what it's like to be a big club, Mark. You're absolutely right. Maybe people are going to start saying that about us.
Oh, we could get used to this, Kevin,
100%, yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. Ken, thank you so much for your £1. I think it might be a super sticker or YouTube sticker, so I can't quite see it on here. But thank you so much for your donation. Much appreciated. I've starred your comment as well, so we'll get onto that in a bit. There's so many comments coming in. Paul says, "Hi, Rich, Kevin, Martin, and Fowler."
Fowler.
Most people call me that.
Yeah, and stay up. I mean, get into Europe, absolutely, mate, 100%. He also says Mings is world class. Article Don says, seen a few LFC podcasts this week. They were talking on how highly rated Ramsey was, and his performance was solely justified. AVFC Watsy, me and my two young lads made a song for Kamara. Hey, that's like yours, Kev.
That is yours.
Yeah, I think. There might need some copyright infringements.
A midfield man. He comes from Marseille, but can he play? Where does he play? He plays in midfield. Booba, booba, booba. No? Anyone fancy?
I like it.
Yeah,
go on. Keep going. No, stop.
I love it.
Booba, 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 car. Nigel's not watching this. Booba, booba, car.
I love it.
If we could get that going, it would be like the "Rocking All Over the World" song that Arsenal do for Saka and Smith Rowe, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
We can get that going. Imagine the whole crowd singing the Music Man song to the set sound of Uber Kamara. I love
Liverpool have a huge admiration for JJ, says Rachel. I bet they will make a bid in the future. Please don't. Graham says, why wasn't Carlos in the squad? I think it was because he had a slight injury before the game, so nothing too much to worry about. Johnny Cash played well. He walked the line. Yes. Dunk said Mings should be in the England squad. He definitely got a shout, although we don't really want many in the England squad due to, I think, want him to rest. Paul wants Bailey potentially to go in the summer. We'll talk that a little later. Just comments on the red. Yeah, Rage said, I can understand why people think it's a red.
Yeah.
Gary wasn't high enough or low enough for a red card. Big Blues Mings' foot
sound a bit like Bruce Forsyth.
Yeah, who then went on to win the game. What goes around comes around. Adam says in between a yellow and a red. I think some people saying like an orange card or something like that.
Yeah. In GAA we call that the black card.
Right. Okay. What we got here? Yeah, why so much hate for Mings from other clubs? Honestly, we've talked about that so much. Rub pieces because he's good. Gakpo should have been booked for taking his shirt off. Well, we say that because he actually scored in inverted commas. Again, you boys might have to help me on this. Another VAR controversy.
Should have been off the pitch, shouldn't he? For one of them, and he nearly scored. Yeah. McPhee was going mental about it.
Injured, didn't he? Yeah.
McPhee was going mental about it because apparently he should have been off the pitch and therefore shouldn't have had the opportunity. I don't know if it was that incident or something else, but
I was saying that in the stands. I was like, the train has been on for ages and he hasn't gone off the pitch, whereas Ashley Young had to go off. But yeah, anyway, he scored. But then again goes to VAR, and we're saying goes to VAR for an offside. Like I couldn't understand it. So can you boys enlighten us? What were they saying on the commentary team about this offside?
Rich, good news for you, mate. I've got absolutely no idea what happened still.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got no idea. I mean, it's something to do with Konza deliberately playing the ball or not deliberately playing the ball. But when it went in, I thought that's clearly a goal. There's nowhere near offside. And then obviously I'll take the decision all day long. But I am honestly, mate, I'm none the wiser after watching it and then reading it back. So there you go.
I think it's what you said there, Kev. Van Dijk was slightly off, but if Konza had actually, he did hit Konza, but if he'd meant to have hit it, it would have then made Van Dijk on because it had been our touch of the ball. But the referee decided that it just hit Konza and he could do anything about it.
It wasn't an intentional play.
Yeah.
It was a bit like the Watkins one against. It was a bit like the Watkins one against Newcastle, I think, last season when the centre half deliberately headed the ball when Watkins was in an offside position, but it made him onside. A bit like what we had with, remember, Mings and Rodri, when Mings deliberately played the ball and then Rodri was then deemed onside. So
it's so contentious, isn't it? This decision. It's so. I mean, will players be practicing passing the ball back to the keeper, but making it look like it's accidental, like throwing their hands in the air, like it's oops, that was a mistake, but it goes back to the keeper. It's but I think might become a skill. Yeah.
Because the way Diaz headed down the ball, like he headed it down, and because Konza was, I wouldn't say he was sprinting, but he was moving in a way that he probably could not get out of the way of the ball. So they deemed it that it wasn't an intentional play to play Van Dijk onside.
Yeah.
Rachel just saying that it's really subjective, and everyone's sort of saying, Konza touch deliberate or not deliberate. But I think I was trying to say that to a few Liverpool fans. They were adamant it was obviously it should have been a goal.
Of course they were. Of course they were.
Of course.
Yeah, of course they were.
That's actually, hey, Martin, that's really good. That is. You're wasted in your job, mate. That's cracking. That is.
Yeah.
Well, you see, a Scouse accent's easy to do, lads, because it's an English accent and a Dublin accent, and you put the two together. So you just go, yeah, of course, I'm from Liverpool, from Millwood, and I used to train with Stephen Gillard and Jamie Carragher.
Mate, that is phenomenal. Well done,
Martin. Well done. That's the end of the podcast. No, I think we'll have an additional 19 minutes of injury time. Don't worry, we'll keep going.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll just add it on at the end.
Yeah.
Rod says pro Liverpool bias is real. To be fair, it's a massive club, but it gets a little silly at times. What have we got? Bridge is dreadful to listen to. And yeah, the Henderson penalty was a joke. Not a penalty, what a joke. Not enough
Nothing in that
contact for
at
a
all.
4-year-old to fall
No.
on that. Weston said, talking about me, bias of the big clubs from the media. Chris Boyd in the Sky Studios commentating on the match screen when Liverpool scored. So biased, it's sickening. And yeah, Big Blue said, as for Fabinho, how many bad tackles before he's yellow?
Absolutely correct. I mean, Klopp didn't talk about that, did he? It was non-stop fouling. I mean, he was looking to still be on the pitch at half-time.
He does that every week, though, Kev.
He
And
does
it's
it
the
every
same.
time. Yeah, every week. He just knows when to match. I think it was also like, I think Newcastle are getting clever at this because I'm pretty sure it was either Joe Linton or Bruno the other day had 8 fouls and didn't get a yellow.
City are quite bad for doing it as well.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Honestly, it's mad. It's mad. Yeah, but the bias. I don't know. Like I say, it's one of those things. And before we get on to again this injury time, the Klopp thing, just to cover the game. Obviously, the pressure was coming. Not so much chances. I would say like more crosses that Mings was having to clear, more kind of last-ditch blocks. Martinez having to come for things, but in the end, Roberto Firmino comes on, scores his goal in his last home appearance. For me, George, I felt it was just a little bit too easy. After all of the pressure they had, it was like an outside of the football from cross from Salah, and then Firmino's just there to put it in. I felt it was just so easy.
Yeah, I think pressure tells after a while, doesn't it? We'd been hanging, like you just said there. We were hanging on and we weren't hanging on. They were all over us, but it wasn't like clear-cut chances. But it was just a defensive sort of. It was all about us just defending, wasn't it? The midfield disappeared. We had no outball, and I just think in the end, the concentration, mate, you can only be switched on for so long. And the ball in was what it was. But Firmino was clever. That's what he does. He's nipped in, isn't it? Nipped in, good striker's instinct, and scored the goal. It's just what it is, mate. I thought they deserved the goal and probably deserved a point. Just what it is, mate. We still put in a good performance.
Yep.
Yeah. Kev, no arguments there.
No, I think you made the point perfectly, mate, that it wasn't like they had loads of chances. They weren't cutting us apart. Obviously, we put an extra man back, didn't we? We kept it solid. It did mean this is where the problem comes with not having good enough players on the break, because if you've got players that are not able to hold the ball up well enough, Duran's still a bit raw, isn't he? That's why. Look at Leeds today when Bamford went off, it changed the game entirely. If you are getting a bit of pressure on, you want players you can ping it to who can hold it up or they've got a bit of pace. So we were going to get penned in a bit, and I think it could have been Man City or Real Madrid. Liverpool, it's unlikely that they don't score at home. I wonder what the stats are for them to score no goals in a home game. And the pressure was telling, and it took a really good outside of the foot cross and an acrobatic finish to get the goal. And you know what? If it had come in, I don't know, the 45th minute or the 60th minute, then it just always hurts a bit more when it's the last minute. So as soon as it says 88 or 89, 90, then it feels bad. But the amount of injury time, I'm just staggered we held on, because
I was shitting myself. I thought they're going to definitely go and win this now.
10 minutes came up. I thought, oh, crikey, this is going to be another one of those ones where, we're going to go, well, we were so unlucky. And I think we were fairly untroubled. Martinez was doing his usual tactics. And I think he's going to get sent off soon, by the way, Martinez. One ref's going to make a hero of himself and send him off. And then we're going to be really screwed.
He goes right to the line, doesn't he?
To the line. He gets that booking 65, 70 minutes, and then the ref actually had a word with him and said, "I am going to send you off if you do any more of it."
I love the face though, Rich, when he gets the yellow, like the shocked face is brilliant.
He's like,
the hard done by face.
Yeah, he does.
He's like
he adds like more onto his routine as he goes. He does like a thing. He pretends to be injured. Then he'll add in like tying his laces. Then he'll add in like getting something off his studs.
Yeah,
and then he'll like stretch or something. And then he goes to kick it.
With the one with tying the laces, when I was at Bournemouth, like his shoelace was slightly untied. I mean, like it was literally like hanging from the knot or whatever. And like he had the gloves, and he got Mings to come over, tie his lace, right? But Mings didn't fully tighten it, and then he go over. The ball went out for a goal kick. He took the gloves off, and he started tying his lace, right? And then he realized it wasn't tied properly again, so he started doing it again.
Oh, honestly, yeah.
Great,
I think you're right, Kev. I think you're right.
Oh, brilliant.
Just need to shout this out, boys. Rod Humble with a $20 super chat.
Thanks, Rod. Cheers,
Amazing
mate. Appreciate it.
donation. Thank you so
Cheers,
much.
Rod.
Thanks for the
Is that
pod.
the second time he's done that, I think?
Yeah, it is, mate. It's phenomenal. Been a great place to
Shit.
enjoy what's become a great season. Good time to be a Villa fan. You make it more enjoyable. Cheers. Up the Villa.
Thanks, Rod.
Thanks, Rod.
Mate, I can't say any more than thank you so much. And mate, we've got nearly 100 people watching, which is amazing. So yeah, like just great to have you guys commenting and joining in the chat. We try and get as many comments on as possible. That's what we do try and do on this podcast. So as well as hopefully talk a bit of sense on the Villa. So amazing stuff. Thank you, everyone. A few more comments. For Rub says Fabinho must have committed 10 fouls, and as soon as he got a yellow, he was substituted. In NHL, this is called a goon. Yeah, they worn us down. Yeah, it happens. Yeah, of course. Jack says if Stones and Mings aren't centre half for England next games, I'm going to be fuming. Villa Mania said it was on the card for Firmino to score.
I felt that when he come on, didn't you, lads? When you see
Yeah.
Firmino
He
come
loves
on,
a goal against Villa, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He actually loves a goal against us.
Yeah. Stats have Fabinho as only 6 fouls. He had 6 in the first 15 minutes. Yeah, I think so. Gary says, what do you think of the Prem this year, guys? I know City won it, but otherwise the top 6 challenge and the relegation place is going to the last week. Of course, Villa doing fantastic.
I thought that the relegation battle was nearly going to have like 7-8 teams on the last day battling out to stay up. Like, I thought that would be unbelievable, but obviously not. Form kicks in for some teams. I never thought Arsenal were going to win the league anyway, because it's Man City. Like, once they'll just keep winning and winning and winning. And if you're a team that hasn't won the Premier League for a while, and Arsenal in this case, and you look at that team, they're not experiencing getting over the line, you know, it's going to catch up. They're going to have a bad month. And Arsenal were due a bad month. They were due a bad month. Every team goes through it. So that's where City won the league. Just that bad month for Arsenal. And it was at a crucial month as well, the month of April. Had they got over the month of April, I think Arsenal then win the league, but it was just never going to happen. But in terms of challenging for Europe and places and all like that, that's been unbelievable this year. Brighton, all credit is due to them. Europe is pretty much guaranteed. You know, Tottenham fallen grace. They were up to 3rd in 1 point, and now they're nearly all the way down to 8th. So it's definitely been an incredible season by all means. So I've really enjoyed this season, only because Villa's been up there, thankfully.
Yeah. I think you've summed it up perfectly there, mate. Radio, that's why we have 2 keepers on the bench. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Rachel, I'm so proud of the team for holding out and seeing the game out.
Yeah.
Martinez is the most hated goalkeeper in the Prem, says Gary.
Good. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Good.
Rod says cheers all. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Thank you. Me too, Rachel. The tournament mentality showed in Liverpool at the end, but we were incredible. Yeah, and Jack says hit the likes. Yes, please do. Adam says Southgate will never pick Mings to start. He only picks players that don't play minutes during the season. Well, look, Calvin Phillips got 90 minutes today, so you know that obviously counts for another 10 caps. But yeah, just on that, just finishing off the game, Kev, that 10 minutes of injury time. I mean, in the stands, we were kind of just like a mixture of like dropping to our knees, praying, jumping up and down, singing, just whatever we could do to try and keep our minds off the fact that it was 10 minutes injury time. But like you say, it was pressure still. I think Liverpool probably ran out of a few ideas. They couldn't really get behind us, and we could have nicked it. We could have nicked it at the end if maybe McGinn had been positive with his header, or Buendia hadn't tried to be so clever and maybe just had a shot.
Yeah. I mean, I felt that 10 minutes was long for me, but in the crowd, in the away end, it must have felt like about half an hour. It was agonising. Like I said earlier, like for us to not concede though, and it to be, you know, a 2-1 plucky defeat was brilliant. I tell you what gets me about the extra 10 minutes, and obviously the extra 8 minutes at half time, before half time, was apparently this was a new thing that they're trying for these last 2 games to almost see what's going on, what happened at the World Cup. They're going to replicate it. So just like the situation with Ivan Toney being allowed to play 36 games and then being banned for the last 2, how's that fair to all the other teams in the league? How is it also fair for one of Villa's games to have maximum injury time added is away at Anfield, and the other one is at home to Brighton. I mean, it might work out good for us in Brighton because we might need to score, but you get my point. Like away at Anfield, if you've got any chance of getting a result, it's going to be a lot harder if you have 18 minutes extra injury time. Yeah. I just think it's just a ridiculous decision. Like if you're going to try it,
why now? Why they do that now?
Yeah, try August to start the season off with it. The chance at the end, I can't really exactly remember what happened. I might have been distracted by my Great Dane, but I think I was like panic. But so maybe one of you two lads might have to sort of remind everyone about it.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember it? I just remember us one of our only kind of attacks in that time period. It was like I can't remember how it happened. It might have been Duran had pressured Kanate into like a bad back pass, and then it bounced, and McGinn could have. It was a bit like that against Forest when it came in and he could have headed it and he didn't.
Yeah.
He went. It was a bit like that, and he brought it down, played it to Buendia, and then Buendia, I don't know if he was in an angle to shoot, but he tried to backheel it to Kamara.
Right.
And then Kamara, like, it wasn't anywhere near him, and then Liverpool went back on the attack. But it was a bit, like a bit like probably what Bournemouth did to Tottenham in that game where they won 3-2, where we could have just snatched it.
I think we were probably clutching at straws at that stage because we had nothing in the second half. I don't think it was a real big chance. It was a chance, but not much of one, really.
Yeah. But like I say, we managed to weather it. I say a storm. I don't really recall Martinez having to make any amazing saves. I don't recall them having any one-on-ones. But look, we got there in the end. We'd have definitely taken a point at the start of the game, as I said before. And if we could get that win on Sunday, to say 7 points from the last 3 games. If you deserve to get into European football with that point total of 61, so let's massively hope we can do it. On to Klopp, one of these. Obviously, he's very disappointed that they look like they're not going to get into the Champions League, but to flip 180 degrees from giving Villa loads of credit before the game to then saying how like terrible our tactics were, how like we time wasted, how they absolutely smashed us in the second half. I mean, what talk about sour grapes, lads.
Yeah, like this is the thing with Klopp, right? Obviously, we all know this Disney movie 101 Dalmatian. Jurgen Klopp has 101 excuses. This lad is literally.
Hey, you're firing them out today, Martin. These one-liners.
Stop. I'm telling you, Jurgen Klopp could complain about anything. Like, he could complain about anything. Something could be going right, and he'll look for something to complain about. It's just Jurgen Klopp. And, like, we were the better team. In the first half, we were the better team. And the second half, they were all over. So, a draw was a fair reflection of the game overall. But obviously, emotions will be running because you'd be disappointed in not getting Champions League place. Inevitably going to Man United. My mates were texting me, Raptor, fucking up the league for us, Raptor, fucking up the Champions League for us. And I'm like, and?
Yeah.
I'll drink the tears. Thanks.
I just need to shout out Savas, who's donated £20. I think it must be another super sticker.
Cheers, Savas.
Mate, this is amazing tonight. Thank you so much.
41 quid after going in already.
Keep this going, lads.
Savas, I'm going to take a punt here, Savas, and say Faristo Parapoli. If I've got that right, then please reply. Thanks.
Imagine Savas comes back and says it's wrong altogether.
No, that's definitely not wrong.
Take the 20 quid back. No, amazing. Thank you for the support, guys. And like I say, if you want to do super chats, if you want to join the channel, it's and become a Villa Park Pod follower, $1.99 a month. It's just at the top of the chat, pinned at the top of the chat. Click the button and follow the instructions, and you can, like I say, be included in exclusive members prize draws and get yourself a shout out on our channel, on the live show, and on the community chat thing on our YouTube. So yeah, amazing. You can join the Villa Park Pod family. So thank you so much. Klopp with his mind games. Rich is joining us. Great to have you on board. Rich says, yeah, Klopp with the tears. Adam says, when Liverpool don't get 3 points, Klopp is unbearable. Rod is with you, Martin, drinking Klopp's bitter tears.
They taste lovely, Rod. You're right.
Aurelio says, last time it was that the grass was too long. Yeah, exactly. Klopp is actually starting to annoy me. I don't know who he thinks he is, says Random Reviews. Weston says, yeah, Klopp's a bit of a tit, isn't he? Gary says he likes Klopp, but he was annoying yesterday. And Rub says Klopp comes out as not very smart in post-match interviews. He should really shut it. Sent the assistant to the press conference. And if anyone deserved to win, it was us.
Do you know what I think with Klopp as well, mate? Like, he's just deflecting. They got knocked out in the round of 16 of the Champions League. They got knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup to Brighton. Then they got knocked out in the Carabao Cup in round of 16 as well. And they aren't going to finish Champions League. I mean, Gabby Ballon said this. I know he's got it in for Klopp, but they've had a terrible season. They've done nothing in any of the cup competitions, and they're not going to finish Champions League. And they were going for the quadruple last year. So, like, from a Liverpool perspective, I can see why he's probably trying to make excuses to take away from their own failings. And you talk about the league and that comment earlier about the season, how exciting it's been. City aside, dominating the top, but everything else, Arsenal being up there and the relegation and European fights. But to see Chelsea struggling this season, to see West Ham, maybe that's an omen for what European Thursday nights do for you, but being down the Leicester bin, looking like their certs to go down. Liverpool, I mean, at one point, Liverpool were struggling to make top 6, top 7, and they've obviously had a bit of a run. So I think he's probably just trying to make excuses for their own failings.
Make a good point there, mate. I do think West Ham will probably be better next season because that Paqueta's starting to play really well.
Yeah.
But on the point of Liverpool and the kind of bad season, I actually thought yesterday our midfield is better than Liverpool's midfield. Our midfield of Kamara, Louise, McGinn, and Ramsey, so that was better than Henderson, Jones, and Fabinho.
Yeah, I agree.
So that tells you.
I agree.
That tells
Absolutely.
you that they haven't done enough in their midfield. Now their backup players, obviously Oxlade-Chamberlain is injured and then letting him go. Cater's not being very good.
They'll be buying. That's where they're going to buy.
They'll be buying. Yeah, they'll be. I think they were some of Liverpool fans said that they've got Alex McAllister wrapped up or something. He's done.
That.
But I think they need probably more than that. But yeah, it's one of them, isn't it? It's one of them.
You just said about Klopp there. Like, I didn't overly mind what he was saying. Like, we did time waste a fair bit, and I'm sure they do get that quite regularly at Anfield, and it's frustrating. And he said that we were screwed second half. And again, I was like, you know what? Yeah, do you know what? I think we were, because we couldn't get out, could we? But what annoyed me was he couldn't give us any credit for our first half. If he'd have been a bit more measured and said, you know what, Villa were very good first half and were worth their 1-0 lead, and they missed a pen and it could have been over by then, I would have probably took that as a decent interview. But he just doesn't like it, does he? If Liverpool don't win, he's an arsehole. And I said this to you the other day.
Yeah, I agree, George. But to a certain extent, like as I said before, they were responsible for some of the time wasting tactics or the stoppages in the game. It's not like they didn't make 5 substitutions. It's not like they didn't have fouls. It's not like VAR was used for their their goal that wasn't given, or the sending off. It's like they were responsible for probably 5 minutes of the 10 minutes that was added on. It wasn't that Villa were just responsible for the full 10 minutes.
No, but then he also said, didn't he? He said there should have been another 5 minutes just in the 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, then you're questioning they've already said that they're going to add on every bit of time. So he's questioning where, just honestly, man, he just ties himself up in nuts. Rich says, didn't mention all the fouls in the first half, slowing the game up. Klopp has annoyed me for a while. It started when he was moaning at the votes for 5 subs. Yeah,
exactly.
Gary said he think he was frustrated because he wasn't on the touchline. Yeah, exactly. Rub said his team had not had a shot on goal for 35 minutes, no chance in 55 minutes at home, and he whines about time wasting. Come on, exactly. Savas says, sorry boys, Turkish, Cypriot, not Greek.
Merhaba, nasılsın, Ian?
Teşekkürler. Thank you in Turkish. Thanks.
No,
cheers, Savas. We appreciate it.
Thank you in Turkish is teşekkür ederim.
Martin, my man, I'm talent.
He's having a big night, isn't he?
You are absolutely killing us out there today.
No, sorry. It's because my grandmother and my grandfather, they live in Turkey in retirement. So every time I go over, I tend to learn a bit of Turkish. So when I said to him, Merhaba, iyi akşamlar, I'm saying hello, good evening.
Look at that.
Amazing, mate.
Ladies and gentlemen, Martin Leonard.
You like an onion, Martin? You like an onion?
you make a lot of people cry.
Hey. Mark says Klopp's a miserable beat. Like Jose, he was great at first. He just bitter at everyone now. His comment yesterday that we were screwed. Yeah, exactly. Massive excuses. Always crying a river from a man with a golden gun. Couldn't agree more, mate. But yeah, look, we don't care. We got the result. Maybe we could have got the win, but it's one of them. It's in our own hands, lads. It's in our own hands for next week. Quick kind of feelings ahead of that. I know we're going to do a match preview. I know we've got like loads of plans for shows coming up in the week. But go around the room, get George. Quick feelings about next week.
First of all, massive respect to Brighton this season. Absolutely fantastic. They've done great, and they're going to get the Europa League position, and I think they deserve it. They've been up there all year. Have done really well. I'm hoping next week that they'll be like, job's kind of done here. And they have like last couple of games, they keep winning, losing, didn't they? I think their last 4, they got hammering off Everton. They got beat again by Newcastle. They got good stuff in there. But do you know what? At Villa Park, over the years, when the writing's really on the wall and we need a win, we generally get it. Villa Park normally comes alive, and we normally do get the job done. So yeah, you know what? I'm confident. I think we can get it.
Yeah. Martin, your thoughts?
On the season as a whole, or
no, for coming in, like, brief thoughts for, it's in our own hands next week.
Oh, yeah, sorry. It really is. It's in our hands. We 1 foot in the door for Europe, and nothing less than a win is something that's needed. Like, I don't want to be worrying about Spurs against Leeds. If we just do our job, get the 3 points, and then Europe is ours. And then after that, everything will be a bonus. I'm sure the streets of Birmingham will absolutely be flooded of alcohol, European football back at Villa Park. And that'd just be fantastic on a European away day, hopefully.
Exactly. Sharik says they're watching Leeds today. Pretty sure Spurs will beat them. Will we beat Brighton, though? Kev, your quick thoughts for next week? You've gone muted.
Rich, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I'm positive, mate. I'm really positive. I think that... Oh, you're back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know what happened then. I just had to shut the door because the dog was going crazy. Do you remember the 1998 World Cup when David Batty missed the penalty? Hopefully, most of our people remember it. And
I was loving it.
Brian Moore, you're not even old enough for that. Remember that?
I was too.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Brian Moore said to Kevin Keegan, David Batty, Kevin, will he score? Yes.
No. Yeah. The greatest Kevin Keegan. Yeah.
When you asked me that question, then I felt like saying, "Oh my God, I don't want to be that confident." But I'm really confident that we're I think George said it well. Like, when we need to do a job at Villa Park in recent years to get wins, whether it's to get us, get the equal the record in the Championship of, I think it was Bristol City. We got that game to the Baggies semi-final. Obviously, we've got the win in the home leg, etc., etc.
Leicester semi-final in the League Cup.
Leicester semi-final in the League Cup, absolutely, yes. So I think we've done pretty well. Do you know what's exciting me about the potential Conference League? I don't want to get too carried away, but when in my life would I ever even attempt to travel to Kosovo, Armenia? Like some of the destinations I've been having a look at this season. Some of the clubs are in places that I would never ever likely to have a weekend away to. So
and sorry, Kevin, just on that, Gary had said apparently I'm going to be a translator for these.
I've got that. Yeah. Martin's going to be the Villa on tour translator for Europe next season. Yeah,
that's got to be free tickets for you, Marty.
West Ham played in bloody Ayia Napa. I'll tell you that in August.
Imagine that. It'd be absolutely Larnaca or something, So, yeah, listen, I can speak quite a bit of Greek, actually. Martin's got Turkish sorted. So if we can go to Cyprus, that'd be perfect because we've got it all sewn up. So imagine a little cheeky trip to Cyprus. Imagine that. Fantastic.
Yeah. Well, look, actually, sorry, boys. I've got to say again, look, Michael here with a $9.99 super chat.
Cheers, Michael.
What a night.
Phenomenal, mate. Get your national flags out next week for your favourite player. Fantastic work by all of you on this podcast, and the good times are coming back.
Love it, Michael. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Michael, can we keep going for this for another hour? We're on overtime now, I think. We're on overtime.
Yeah, we just keep going for 3 hours, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Rich says, looking forward to the Villa Park Raw, the lads to victory. Gary says Brighton should be knackered with 3 games in a week. Austin's joining us, says Unai is our saviour, utter genius. Gary, squeaky bum time next week. I just hope we get out of the traps fast. But look, all the week's going to build up to it. We'll get a match preview. I'm sure we'll talk about it. Rachel said we can only focus on ourselves and play the best we can. We have to focus, as us saying Brighton are on the beach could cause us to be complacent. Exactly. We've just got to go for it. What happens if both games end 0-0?
Then we have Europe.
Yeah, are we ahead? We're ahead of Spurs now, aren't we?
We just have to better their result. We've just got to better their result. If they win 16-4, we've got to win 16-4 at least or more. Basically,
what about Brentford?
Well, if we lose, and Spurs lose, and Brentford beat City, which is unlikely, then they can pip us.
Yeah, they're 2 points behind us, aren't they?
What's their goal difference? Is it worse than ours?
Let me just check.
No, Brentford is better now. I think they're
Brentford on 56 points. They're plus 11. Villa are 58 points. We're plus 4. So yeah. Brentford are there, but I mean, Man City, they're on 88 points. I can't get 100 points, can they?
No,
they can because they can get.
No, the best they can get is
94.
Yeah, I can't see them beating them.
We're lucky they've got City, innit? Can you imagine?
Yeah. I just think we win. I think we win.
Yeah.
Imagine if I had Leeds.
Yeah, I know.
They were terrible today.
Guys, we're not worried about what the other teams are doing.
No, exactly.
On the Brighton game. Yeah, and that should be hopefully it.
Yeah, as long as we match better Spurs result, we get Europe. Yeah, absolutely. Let's just see some more comments. 2-0 Villa. Brighton will be hung over from playing 3 games in a week. Up the Villa. Weston said, don't know if everyone's read the messages from our owners over that Barcelona fiasco and dispelling the rumour it was to do with funds that the director of football isn't now coming to Villa. Yeah, I think it's one of them.
That's come out that it wasn't the owners. Ashley Priest put something up saying that it was him that broke the news, and then he deleted his tweet, and someone challenged him on why he deleted his tweet, and he said,
it didn't sound like that wording.
Yeah.
But look, I think it's a storm in a teacup. But yeah, it'll all be good. Sava says he's in, boys, for the trip, for the European tour. Absolutely. Gary says we'll be able to get Sammy's new camera now, lads. Yeah, definitely.
Evet, Sava, Evet.
Yeah. Big Bloom says massive game. We will be loud and proud as always after a couple in the tavern first. 100%, mate. Yeah, we're a point ahead. Michael, as I always say, 1 game at a time. We have 1 game to go. Yeah, so look, it's on for us to do. I just hope we start quickly, and it's amazing to be in this position. Who would have thought that? We'd be in this position, lads? Like in our own hands, a game to go. I mean, even like 3-4 weeks ago, I think me and you were quite positive. George, fairly realistic. I think we all kind of thought we could do it, but to be in with that shot, all those. The other podcast saying what are we doing on a European podcast, all that sort of stuff. But we've kept it consistent, even when we've had a couple of dodgy results. We've kept it consistent, and to be in this position now, lads, is just
if Villa do make the Conference League, should we get that voice note of Sam with that music in the background of what could have been?
Okay, lads, can I just say as well, like let's keep positive, right? If Man City beat Brighton 6-0. And we beat him 6-0, then we can still make Europa League. So,
there we go.
I knew you'd find a way of getting it in. I knew you would. Yeah. I knew you would.
And if it's possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Kev, if that actually happens, right, we will pay for your flights and accommodation, everything for the first European game in Europa League, right? I'll put that one on now.
Unlikely, but fingers crossed.
Yeah. Don't hold me to it.
Yeah. Right. Well, lads, look. Let's call it a night there. We're going to be back in the week with Talking Tactics, which I'm sure is going to be an amazing one from Gareth. Ready probably for Tuesday or Wednesday. So look out for that. We'll be back with a match preview, live match preview. We'll hopefully do some Bodymore bulletins if more news comes out. I'm sure there'll be transfer rumours. I'm sure there'll be rumours about players coming, going, fitness updates across the week. So we'll be back with them. I'll also, me or Kev or whoever will also do a bit of a bite-sized preview, which I thought went down well. So we'll also bring that to you. So yeah, loads of stuff to come on in a week. We've had over 100 watching tonight, which is fantastic. What a bit of positivity does. Let's just keep it going for the rest of the season. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us get to over 1,500 before the end of the season would be amazing. If you want to become a member, $1.99 a month to become an official Villa Park Pod follower. As soon as we get to 25, we'll do our first draw. The super chats tonight, lads. I mean, incredible. Absolutely incredible.
51 quid.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your support, everyone. Thank you for joining. As always, please remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.